Alright guys, what's happening? Getting ready to start bombarding you with videos here. I said I was going to do the position by position breakdown of the entire Panthers team and kind of rate them over the course of the 2010 season. But before that, let's go through the All-Pro teams. I think last year I did a overall All-Pro team, and this year I'm going to break it up into NFC and AFC. The Pro Bowl rosters came out a couple of weeks ago. As there always are, there were some glaring snubs, some really good picks, and some of those where you didn't really know. But I'm going to run down the list of my NFC All-Pro Offense here in this video. Once again, I apologize for the quality of the video. It's cloudy outside today, and I don't know, yesterday it was sunny, and it worked. It doesn't matter how much artificial light I direct at the computer. If it's cloudy outside, it's like it's, you know, I got a little bit of a motion delay here. In terms of syncing up with my sound, so you know, whatever. I don't know. I don't pretend to know everything about the computers and why they act the way they do. But cloudy day equals crappy video quality. But we're going to try to do it anyway. So let's go ahead and run down the list. Like I said, NFC All-Pro Offense, quarterback position. I'm giving it to Michael Vick. The other two options were Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers, and Michael Vick, you know, doesn't have the passing stats of those guys necessarily. I think 21 touchdowns, but he only has 6 interceptions. And just the fact that his running ability, you can't, nobody tops that in the NFL. Nobody can run like he can. And I mean, I'm talking like running backs can't run like he can. And just the game plan you got to put in to stop him with that passing ability and the running ability. Now having the passing ability in addition to the running ability, somehow he learned how to play quarterback in his time off. He's actually gone through progressions this year and making reads and, you know, seeing more than one or two or, you know, even 3 receivers before he takes off to run. And, you know, just his development was remarkable. Nobody could have thought he would do that well this year. For all the people that are, you know, bashing the Panthers saying, should have picked up Vick, well, nobody knew he was going to be this good. And if you thought, you know, if you're going to try to say you thought he was going to be this good, you're lying. So that's my quarterback pick. At halfback, I originally had Adrian Peterson, then I went with LeSean McCoy. Peterson has a significant more yardage than McCoy and more touchdowns too in terms of rushing, but McCoy went over 1,000 yards, 5.2 average, and also caught 78 passes. So for, I think, close to 600 yards. And, you know, that kind of dual threat running back. He was on my fantasy team this year in the Yahoo League with the Facebook Panthers group guys. And, you know, basically carried my team not into the playoffs, not necessarily to a championship success, but yeah, I had some weaknesses in other areas on my team, and he did real well for me this year. Just you know, dual threat, like I said, 78 catches from running back is phenomenal. So he gets a nod at halfback. Fullback Ovie Mugheli, I think the G's silent. So the Atlanta Falcons fullback. Got a chance to watch him a couple times this year and, you know, actually focused in. I like old school fullbacks, and he's an old school fullback. A lot of times you see fullbacks get voted into the Pro Bowl, like Leonard Weaver a couple of years ago is the name that comes to mind from Philadelphia Eagles, who basically was a big running back and, you know, had a lot of offensive stats, wasn't necessarily a great blocker. Ovie Mugheli, I think, had like 13 carries and 13 catches this year when I looked at his stats page, but the guy just absolutely blows people up. I mean, he's always in the hole, always clearing the lane for Michael Turner back there, and you know, just an absolute beast as an old school fullback. At wide receiver, the first wide receiver, we'll stick with the Atlanta Falcons, go with Roddy White. His development over the past couple of years, you know, from drop machine to one of the best wide receivers in the NFL has been phenomenal, and probably the best wide receiver in the NFC this year. The other guy, Greg Jennings, he's slightly lower down on the list. I think he came in, you know, in terms of receptions, somewhere around number 10 or 11, somewhere around there. But you got to understand, he's on a wide receiver heavy team. The Packers don't run a whole lot. They pass to a lot of different guys. You're looking at James Jones, Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson. Their tight ends, Donald Lee, and well, Jermichael Finley was hurt this year, but when he's out there, they pass to him a lot too. So Greg Jennings is a standout out there, and with almost a 17-yard per catch average, I mean, and 12 touchdowns, I put him in there as the second wide receiver. At tight end, Jason Witten, you really can't argue with that. I mean, the guy's developed as a blocker. He used to be just a receiver. Now he's a pretty decent blocker. Went over 1,000 yards, has almost 11 yards per catch from the tight end position, which is really good, and caught something like 98 passes. You know, just the ultimate that exactly what you want out of a tight end, just kind of the safety blanket. guy that's, you know, you'd always look for if you really need the 10 yards or so. Not necessarily going to get a whole bunch of yards after catch, but he'll make the catch for you and pick up what he can. The offensive line, you know, I don't pretend to know everything about the offensive line. Y'all might think I'm talking out of my ass here voting these guys in. A lot of these are based on like individual performances that I saw in games that I watched, because in order to accurately rate offensive linemen, you would have to watch every game of every team all through the season and only watch the blocking, and nobody does that. Nobody has time to do that, and even if you were going to watch every game, you probably wouldn't watch the blockers the entire game, because let's be honest, I mean, people watch the ball. It's just what you do. You watch the ball in football. That's where the camera goes. A lot of times you can't even see the blocking because the camera's following the ball. But this is my humble list of who I thought were the best offensive linemen. We'll start with the offensive tackles, and I've got 2 left tackles on the team, but, you know, tackle's tackle, and sometimes, you know, it is an adjustment, but I think that a left tackle playing right tackle would be not quite as tough a transition as a right tackle going back to left tackle. So 2 left tackles, I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna get away with that. David Diehl, anchoring the best pass protection line in the NFL for the New York Giants. You know, I think they gave up like 16 sacks, and you know, the guy's really quick on his feet. When I've watched him, great explosion, great hand placement. Rarely gets called for a penalty, and probably one of the best left tackles in the game at this point. The other one, this is a little bit of a surprise. The Pro Bowl had Jason Peters, I think is the other offensive tackle from Philadelphia. I'm voting in Donald Penn of Tampa Bay. Got to see him play 3 times this season, twice against the Panthers and one against some other game that I watched. I can't remember what it was. It might have been Atlanta. That guy, for his size, he just doesn't look like an athletic person. He just looks like, I guess, an oil drum on top of a couple of little bitty supports, because his legs are so small compared to his upper body. But very quick, very athletic, great in run and pass protection. Used to be mainly a run blocker in the past couple of years. He's really developed his pass protection this year, so I voted him in there at the other tackle position. At the guards, I've got Leonard Davis from the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, the guy goes 6'8", 370. It's almost impossible not to be a good run blocking guard at that point. And you know, he's one of the best road graders that they have in the league right now, and just absolutely, you know, he'll take out 2 guys at once. I've watched him a couple times this year, and he came in from Arizona, and he had some kind of issue in Arizona. Just like, I don't know if he wasn't trying or he just wasn't moving, because it's not like he would really have to try. He just kind of move in a general direction and should be able to move people out of the way. But he's really exploded since he got to Dallas. The other offensive guard, this is another one where I was going away from the Pro Bowl roster, Todd Herremans of the Philadelphia Eagles. Every time I've watched him play this year, just an all-around guard. You know, one of those guys that, you know, he could probably play tackle if he needed to, and I think he actually has played tackle at some point because of injury. But, you know, versatile guy, great in run, great in pass. Once again, rarely gets called for penalties, which is another thing you look at for offensive linemen. And just a stud guard in there, so I'm putting him in at the other spot. And at center, we'll go with the Jeff Saturday lookalike, who plays for Jeff Saturday's favorite quarterback's brother, C-Shaun O'Hara of the New York Giants. It's amazing how both of the men, he's got a well-bearded, jolly-looking center who's slightly undersized. And, you know, C-Shaun O'Hara doesn't quite get as much press as Jeff Saturday, but I believe he's every bit as good, making the calls up there, always making sure everybody's in the right position. Once again, rarely gets called for a penalty. He is undersized compared to normal offensive linemen. Hoping that Ryan Khalil can develop into a little bit of a mirror image of C-Shaun O'Hara or Jeff Saturday, and I think he got voted as either an alternate or the backup at the Pro Bowl this year. And he and Jordan Gross, I think, both made it. I didn't see Jordan Gross on the roster when I looked, but those are reputation votes at this point, because nobody in the Carolina offensive line did well this year. But C-Shaun O'Hara at the center position. That wraps up the NFC All-Pro Offensive team. I'll get to work here on the defensive team. We'll try to get that video up probably tomorrow, probably not tonight. And I'm going to try to get in a different intro. I don't know what I'm going to put into it yet. Certainly can't get in everybody on the team. Well, I don't know. I've got 12 pictures. I may be able to get everybody in there. So we'll see if I can work that. And until I see you again, Clips 46, a.k.a. Nick Woodfin. I don't know if we're going to say repping that Carolina Pride for NFC or All-Pro Offensive team or All-Pro teams here. Whatever. I will catch you later.